I need some help introducing our first couple of people here. Our aunt to the bride, Tracy Heller, escorted by Brian Peterson. Yeah, we can make some noise for our aunt to the bride and Brent. Next, our grandparents of the bride, William and Christine Heller. Let's hear it for Christine's grandparents, everyone. And now our grandparents of the groom, Edward and Virginia Schmitt. Frank's grandparents, everyone. And next, our parents of the bride and groom, Heidi McInerney, escorted by Timothy McInerney and Joseph Romeo. Keep those hands going for our parents, everybody. And now our flower girl and our ring bearer, Hunter McInerney and Juliet Schmitt. Here they come. Looking good, guys. Next, we have our bridal party. Leading us off, the I Do crew. Megan and Mary Kate McInerney, escorted by groomsman Daniel Hetzer. Also, part of the I Do crew, Kaylee and Riley McInerney, escorted by groomsman Eric Hennessy. Next we have bridesmaid Emma Heller, escorted by groomsman Robert Fulton. Elizabeth Heller, escorted by groomsman David Kogan. Our sister of the groom, Stephanie Romeo, escorted by groomsman Sean Rice. Sister of the groom, Alyssa Romeo, escorted by groomsman James Dorsey. Cousin of the bride, Bridget McInerney, escorted by groomsman Joseph Romano. We have bridesmaid Erica Shirillo, escorted by groomsman AJ Fedoruk. Bridesmaid Kelly Biggs, escorted by brother of the bride William McInerney. Abigail Green, escorted by groomsmen Matthew Wilson and Pat Power. We have our best man, Jason Paszkowski, escorted by our maid of honor, GypsyLee Belinda, and virtually by matron of honor, Alexandra Leavy. Our best man, maid of honor, and our honorary matron of honor virtually. Let's hear it for them. All right. This time, I would ask everyone to please rise to your seats. Please rise, as it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you this evening, Mr. and Mrs. Francesco and Kristen Romeo! Here they come making their grand entrance.
Yeah, I've been watching you, every little thing you do. Every time I see you dance, my hand really fast, makes my heart beat fast. I've tried to hold you twice.
And your mama don't know our song is the way you laugh. The first date, man, I didn't kiss her and I should have. And when I got home, for I said amen, asking God if he could play it again. I was walking up the front porch steps after every. I almost didn't notice all the roses and the note that said, our song is a slam and scream door.
Hey, we'd like to invite out Hunter and Juliet to join Frank and Christine at our cake table. So come on out, guys. My hair undone in the front seat of his car.
All right, hello and good evening, everybody. So, quick question. Do you guys got any apps? Oh, you do? Okay, we'll take 4 of each apps. This is a typical Frank Romeo question whenever we go out to eat. Teeny, you look gorgeous tonight. I am absolutely honored and humbled to be standing here talking in front of everyone here. This hasn't been the year we wanted it to be. In some part, I kind of failed. I feel like I failed as a best man because of COVID, of what happened. We were trying to put stuff together and COVID happened, and it didn't really work out. So, at first it was really a big bummer what happened. If you don't know by now, me and Frank, we're both firefighters. We met back in high school in CPFTA. It was 2007 when we met, and I was Mr. Serious. Frank was probably the most laid-back guy I've ever met in my life, and it was almost disgusting in a way because he would laugh at everything. You would say there's a camera sitting on the tripod right there. He would laugh at it. He would just laugh hysterically, and I would go, what's so funny about it? But it's kind of funny because throughout the years, we switched roles. Frank has become more of the serious body here, and I'm more of the laid-back lining up one. But I will say, Frank, thanks to you, I learned to line it up a little bit. But you know what? We might trade qualities along the way. But anyhow, let's actually get into this speech. All right, so while we were in class, Frank said, hey, I'm going on a date with this girl. And, we're 16, 17-year-old boys, so we start making fun of Frank for going out on a date. And he kept on saying it throughout the year more and more often. I'm seeing this girl. I'm seeing this girl. Later on, did we find out this girl is Teeny. But Teeny, I have to say, myself, Pat, and Matt Wilson, we all have 2 months on you, so we've known Frank just that much longer. I will say, the first time I met Teeny, though, face to face was when we were at the CPFTA graduation. And when I saw her, I go, whoo! I go, Frank, she is way out of your league, buddy. They were polar opposites. I mean, completely opposite of each other. And I couldn't be any happier for Frank for finding a woman who was going to better him. So later on, we continued down our careers. We went to Malcolm X College together, which is on the west side of Chicago. If anybody knows about anything about the west side of Chicago, it's a very rough area. So what did we do? We went out and we explored. We went out we went to Church's Chicken, Sharks, everywhere we weren't supposed to be. But I'll never, ever, ever, ever let Frank live this down. So when we had class together, we were always the first ones to class. Well, Frank had to make sure that his car was locked. Not once, not twice, about 20 times in a circle, checking every door on his Buick, making sure it was locked. And it wasn't, we were going to be late even though we were the first ones there. So I go, Frank, come on, you know it's locked. We walk down, we get about 100 feet away. Hang on, I gotta go back and check my car. So real quick, I have these pictures up here. I just want to show you guys. This picture here, though, is from when when I first met Teeny. This was our graduation. Look how young we were. We were only 17 and 18 years old. We were kids. We didn't know it. We did not know that today was going to happen the way it is when we took this picture. So while we were at Malcolm X, we took a class together. It was Biology 116, which is Anatomy and Physiology. It was an awesome class. We had fun in that class, but again, Frank was the most laid-back guy and I was Mr. Serious. And I'll never forget, I come up to the door and I go, hey, Frank, come here. So Frank kind of festers up to the door, go, look, you and me both want to be firefighters, right? It's like, yeah. Go, I got a job opportunity out in the suburbs, and I want you to go with me. And Frank was honored. Now, just for the record, the way I'm telling it tonight is the way I'm telling it. Frank, you have no input in this situation right now, so all you can do is sit back and let her ride. So I tell him, let's apply. So we both applied to the department, and lo and behold, 8 months later, we are firefighters for the Village Alliance. And this is where our story as firemen begin. So Frank, I don't know how. I get you the application, yet you beat me in seniority. How is that even possible? But that's neither here nor there. But what's really important is that we realize we're from the same cloth. We are cut from the same cloth. When I say we're cut from the same cloth, we worked our butts off. I mean, we worked our tails to the bone to get where we are at today. Together, me and Frank, we went through a fire academy, paramedic school, working 2 jobs, all at the same time while we were, even before the age of 21. We were what people call grinding. I mean, and just to give you a little perspective about how this was, 4 out of the 7 days you're learning to be a doctor on wheels, and then 3 of the 7 days you're learning how to run into a burning building and do things a fireman would do, and then you're going to the firehouse for calls, and then you're also working your regular jobs on top of this. And yet we still found time to hang out with each other, which is insane. But we made it happen. And again, that's something that doesn't come from people who aren't on the same level. And when I said we're cut from the same cloth, I truly mean that. So now we talk about fires. We're firemen. There's a couple fires that stand out, and the one time I could have not been any more, let's just say, angry at Frank. It was the 4th of July, and we had a garage fire set off in the back. I make the lead out. There's a bunch of confusion going on the fire ground, and Frank just inadvertently, while I'm on the line, this is the biggest line we have, cranks the pressure about 100 pounds more than what it should be. If anybody's seen The Little Rascals, I looked like Spanky on the line going up and down because there's so much pressure in this line. And not to mention the fireworks that were in the garage that were blowing off while this was going on. Needless to say, when I was done, I walk back to the fire engine, I look at Frank, I go, what was that pressure? 200. 200? I could have taken the nozzle and reamed him with it, but now we laugh that off. It's a funny fire though, but I will say this next story is one that will say, we were very proud of this one. It was on a complete fluke, all right? I was coming back from somewhere up north. I called Frank. I go, hey, where are you at, buddy? Because I'm at the firehouse. All right, stay there. Let's have dinner at the firehouse. I'll pick some food up and we'll, make a night of it. So we pick up Hooters. We're eating wings. And no sooner than we get done eating, the tones drop for a structure fire. So we get dressed, we go en route. Frank is the acting officer and I'm the engineer. And I'm driving, I go, man, I don't see anything. As soon as we turn the corner, there's about a flame 20 foot high up in the sky. We're like, oh, here it is. But everything we ever learned from those times all came into play. Frank was a great leader at that call. We saved 2 houses from burning down that night. And it was because of me and Frank's leadership, more so Frank's leadership, that we were able to save property and life, which is what firefighting's all about. I couldn't be more proud of Frank than that moment and of us. I'll show you right here, this picture. This picture on the bottom corner, this is what we took afterwards. We're so proud of the accomplishment we have made from that. That was one of our proudest moments we've had together in our career. This other picture right here, where there's 4 of us standing in front of the fire engine. We went to a different town to help for a fire, and the chief of that town goes, I've never seen 2 guys, referencing me and Frank, work so hard to get things done so fast. That's a great compliment where we come from. So we spent countless hours on calls. Everything from resetting a fire alarm, to going on a fire, to putting out lawnmowers that are on fire. But what this is what we call brotherhood. All right, Frank, Matt, Pat, we're all here. This is brotherhood that brought us here right now. Oh, and I forgot to mention one last fire that I put it in for Olivia, my girlfriend, which was the Bedford Park. Woo! Which was, she had to make sure I mentioned it. Every time we drive past it, I go, that's the fire me and Frank fought, which was right down the street from my house. So that has to get referenced every time. But with brotherhood, thank you for your service, Frank. With With brotherhood comes unity. And a lot of things we did together were travel and explore this country together. And like I said, I want to acknowledge again, Pat Powers, Matt Wilson, And Matt Sheehan's in here as well. Our paths all cross together in this. So while traveling, we've learned a lot about each other, but there's a lot of one-liners that come out of here. And I'm gonna share these one-liners that are some of the favorites of Frank's. Frank, I'm sorry, but this is all almost a roast for you, buddy. I'm cranky. We've got swindled. All right, boys, get your coffee and let's get on the road. We have no business being here. And I think Frank's favorite saying of all, Jay, this is not how any of this happened. So, we're gonna proceed over here. Our first trip we've had together was to the Smoky Mountains in Nashville. All right, so I never ever in my life thought I'd hear Back Porch and Getaway Truck by Dirk Bentley and Aaron Watson. Woo! Thanks, my man. Now, that song played on repeat about 1,000 times over the course of 6 hours to and from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Frank, I want to say this is almost your favorite song. But when we were down there, this is the first time I've traveled with Frank. And I didn't think Frank was going to be such an adventure guru like I was. So here we are hanging off the sides of mountains and going whitewater rafting down in Gatlinburg. I mean, we had a blast. Frank, I'll never forget, he almost lost it though when we were on this whitewater raft. And he held on and he made it to where we were the only people who stood in the raft the entire whitewater trip. So that Master Eagle Scout really came into play there, Frank. And then Nashville, when we went for Matt Sheehan's bachelor party. Man, what a great time that was, but our livers hated us that night. Cue the pause for a second. All right, so we figured, hey, we could do this trip, why not do more, right? So we thought it'd be a great idea to rent an RV and go cross country. Now I want to show of hands. Who here has ever done this? Well, I don't see anybody raising their hands, so there was 4 people in this trip who thought this was a great idea. But show of hands, whoever went to Costco and bought about 4 months worth of dry goods thinking that this was a great idea. Back there, I got it. Well, this picture over... Oh, you know what? That one didn't print out. I'm so sorry, it's not on there. But there's a cart full of us, 2 carts full of dry goods from Costco that we thought was a great idea. I'm still using the tin foil from that trip today to use. But the firehouse ruined us on that one because we packed like we're going to be at the firehouse for days. But I tell you what, we hiked, we camped, we canoed, we drove all across this country, and we had a great time doing it. We also got caught by a tornado in there. Frank never mentioned that story. I thought Frank, Pat were messing with me because I tried parking a 30-foot RV in a regular parking spot. But and I thought they were rocking it back and forth, but there was actually a tornado next to our RV. But after that tornado hit, I fell asleep and I was knocked out. I didn't realize that Pat and Frank had been driving for the last 4 hours. So we wake up at this truck stop. I get out, I go, all right, boys, get your coffee, and we're gonna be hitting the road, right? And Frank and Pat go, Jay, we've been driving the last 4 hours while you've been sleeping. Everyone here knows that Frank's an Eagle Scout, right? Eagle Scouts. And everybody knows that Patrick Powers is a master canoer. So myself and another buddy, we were in a canoe, and Pat and Frank, so the Eagle Scout and the Master Canoer were both in a canoe. Me and my buddy out-canoed these two, because these two couldn't decide who was right on what stroke to do while canoeing. It was great because you were watching these two argue the entire time. We're still here, we're alive. I almost killed us all by making our we losing it a little bit? Our RV, we went airborne up an embankment and we landed there. But that's neither here nor there. All right, we're here. And this is all part of brotherhood. And while we're out in Yellowstone, this is kind of, this is one of the serious moments I've had. And out in Yellowstone, my uncle was a fireman. He had taken his own life. And my aunt had ran off. She went to Minnesota. Now, this is the part where I went out, or to Montana, I'm sorry, and find closure. So being that we were in Wyoming and she was only 2 hours away from Yellowstone, all right, these two guys, Pat and Frank, were there with me when I needed to put that piece of closure in my life. They were there 110%. That's brotherhood. Something you don't see, you're not going to see that anywhere else. Just to kind of show you a little bit here, the RV from our RV trip. Frank always says, I should have never bought this Shetty. You convinced me to buy a $200 cooler that I never use. We always, we went to, we thought it was a good idea one time to go to Moab. We thought it'd be great to mountain bike the foothills of Canyonland National Park until we met these two gentlemen. And when I say elderly gentlemen, they were about 65, 70 years old, and they outbiked us, Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Tim. And Frank's favorite saying here, we had no business being here. No business being here. But, as you can see from that trip to Moab, so we're very daring. We went to where we could have fallen to our deaths. We climbed up the Angel's Landing, biking and hiking underneath all the shade of the rock because it was, this was a challenge. This was something we pushed ourselves to do. Back over here, just touching back on those trips, we have our whitewater rafting. Then we also have our canoe trip where the master canoers are right here. The one guy who beat him is right there. So again, we went Yosemite trip. So again, we went to Key West. We got swindled, even though we caught a trophy shark. So through all these pictures here, right, showing you where we're at, did I fail as best man? In the beginning, I thought I did. Frank, you didn't pick me as your best man for trying to throw a raging bachelor party. You picked me because I've been on this journey with you to where you're at today, every step of the way. I've seen the best and worst sides of you, but I still bust your chops every day about both. Teeny, you're still way out of Frank's league. I know why you said yes to you. I know why she said yes to you today for a lifetime, Frank. And it's because your heart is of gold. Frank, when your mother passed, it was the hardest thing watching my best friend trying to cope with something that I can only stand there and watch. All I can say to you today, buddy, she's down here watching you really well, and she's happier than ever that you're marrying the girl of your dreams. Your action speaks just as loud as your words, and you two share a bond just like me and you share, Frank. So with that, and without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to raise your glass And let's give the biggest toast to Mr. and Mrs. Romeo. Romeo. Romeo.
One more time for our best man, Jason.
I just want to go ahead and say, like, Jay, you did awesome. I'm really upset that I have to follow up after that, but you did amazing. Couple other things. I have a whole speech written out, but I just have a couple little things I want to say. Teeny and Frank, you look, in Teeny's words, dapper. This may not be your leather jacket and combat boot combo, but I have to say you look beautiful. I know there are a lot of people here, well, not here, that should be here tonight, and I just want to go ahead and recognize those people as well, because they serve as a very important part to our wedding tonight. I want to say how amazing it is to have all of you here tonight for Teeny and Frank, despite some of the challenges that the world is facing today. How lucky we are to be here to celebrate you two tonight. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I had no idea I was even writing a speech until Tuesday, but it's fine. Luckily, I've known Teeny for quite a long time. For those of you who don't know me, my name is GypsyLee. I've been a friend of Teeny's for longer than I'd like to admit, because that'll show our age way too well. But with that being said, that means there's a better story behind all of the years that have led up to today. So Teeny, today it's your day. You know, I never thought I would be up here giving a speech on your day. Someone that I played against on the basketball court in grammar school. Safe to say it got a little competitive. That competition became a whole lot sweeter in high school. We didn't know we'd be going to the same one, but it happened a few years later, so it worked out. From basketball rivals to Garen Gators, we quickly learned our friendship would be unique and last a lifetime. It was during those years that I was able to meet your now husband, Frank, but I'll get into that a little later. Those high school years went by quickly, and we went our separate ways. St. Mary's was really lucky to have you. And although I missed our late night steak and shake drives, yes, even in a Chicago blizzard, I knew you would meet some pretty amazing people, some of who are also sitting by your side tonight. You guys have made an amazing impact on Teeny's life, and she's made that very clear. Luckily, we decided that we found out we'd be speech paths, and in order to do that, you had to go to grad school. Neither one of us were excited for it, but we also ended up at the same school for that, so we got to struggle through it together. Through the ups and downs of life, it really proved how strong our friendship was and continues to be. And Teeny recently told me that we can get through anything as long as we had each other's backs. And that meant a lot to me. And I truly believe that no matter what. From Belmont to Bloomington, as you like to say. And now we can add a little more to that. Because regardless of where we are, our friendship follows. And well, so does Frank. So now Frank, let's talk a little bit about you. Since high school, you've been making Teeny happier than I've ever seen her. Aside from maybe the time that she threw you a surprise party, and well, I think we had a little bit more fun than you did, but I digress. You know, that's Teeny. She's a little quirky and spontaneous, and Frank, well, I think we can all agree that you balance each other out. But really, I think you need that in a relationship. Despite your differences, and despite the many years of long distance, I have seen you put major effort and commitment into your relationship. And Frank, that speaks volumes about the person that you are. I find comfort in knowing that same effort and commitment will always be a part of your relationship and your marriage going forward. I am so happy to call you both friends and family of mine, and I couldn't be more grateful to be speaking at your wedding. From high school dances to college drives to everyday life, you made it. Your love can persevere no matter what you face together, and I say that with all of the confidence in the world. It wouldn't be right to end this speech without a quote from one of Teeny's favorites, and it goes a little something like this. Every once in a while, people step up. They rise above themselves, and sometimes they surprise you.
Sometimes they fall short. Life is funny that way. It can push pretty hard. But if you look close enough, you can find hope in the words of children, in the bars of a song, and in the eyes of someone you love. And if you're lucky, and if you're the luckiest person on the entire planet, the person you love decides to love you back. Here's to two people that decided to show each other the love that they both deserve. Congratulations, I love you both, and here's to a wonderful future.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. I think it's even more special during these unprecedented times that we could all show up, even virtually, for this much deserving couple. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Alex. I met Teeny on the first day of high school back in 2006. Our maiden last names are Maletta and McInerney, so we had homeroom together and our lockers were just spaces apart. We also had ample amount of classes together, so you could say we spent a good chunk of time together in person. However, it wasn't necessarily the time we spent in person together that really defined the beginning of our friendship, but more so the hours, and I mean hours, of time we spent talking to each other every single night on AIM. And if you aren't hip enough to know what that is, it stands for AOL Instant Messenger, basically your modern day version of text messaging. This is really showing our age here. However, this is a crucial part to the story, as this is where I was introduced to Frank. I don't know if you all could truly understand how much we talked every single night about literally everything and anything, but particularly boys, and particularly our now husbands. The excitement of furiously typing on the computer as she sent me Frank's MySpace page, and I was like, oh my god, he's Italian, you absolutely have to go on a date with him. His last name is freaking Romeo, that's incredible. So I feel like with me giving approval, I take full credit for the moment that is happening right now. I think though that everyone here can agree that we are all inspired by love like theirs. It would take me days to go through the years and memories that I have been lucky enough to witness with this incredible couple. From going to the Dells after senior prom, or even the three of us, me, Teeny, and Frank, driving to Northern California to go to the most beautiful national park I've ever been to. Fortunately, we were able to go to the national park. Unfortunately, we did have to do it with Frank's driving, which was an experience of itself, but we have been through so much together, good, bad, literally everything in between, and I am so honored to be a part of their journey as much as I've loved having them in my life. Frank, we are basically the same person, so I have nothing but high regards for you because we are perfect. Of course, Teeny would be marrying the boy version of myself, as she is the girl version of my husband. Frank, I admire your passion. I love your sense of humor and the dedication that you have for your wife, your family, and your job. Teeny, you have changed my life from the moment that I met you. I can still picture the crazy, unorganized girl in freshman year biology with your hair, your papers flying everywhere. You are just an incredible human being. We are so different, but we understand each other so well. You have impressed me so much with your life, with the success in your career, your unbelievable creativity, and the love that you show for others. You are incredibly loyal, witty, and caring. You are truly my sister, and I can't wait to be a part of and see what the future holds for the both of you. I love you both endlessly. I am so happy for you, and I truly cannot wait to be a part of your next part of your journey. Thank you so much.
Let's put our hands together for Christine and her father, Timothy, sharing their special daddy-daughter dance. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Mr. and Mrs. Romeo. Woo!
The greatest fan of your life.
We were both young when I first saw you. I close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there on the balcony in summer air. See the lights, see the party, the ball gowns. See you make your way through the crowd and say hello. Little did I know that you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said stay away from Juliet. And
put our hands together for the bridal party, everybody. Romeo. All right. So basically, I'm going to announce how many years you've been married, and once I do that, I ask you please leave the dance floor. So if you've been married for less than a day, I'd ask that you please leave the dance floor.
They've been together 58 years.
Anyone else get married today?
That's crazy.
Okay. How about a year? Have you been married in the last year? Congrats.
He brought home 60.
But I gotta ask you to leave. Hey, congrats, guys.
Bought a little two-bedroom
We got some married
house on
couples
Maid,
going still. How about let's jump it up to 5 years?
where she blessed him with 6 more miles.
5 years, congrats.
That's crazy.
Please exit the dance floor, less than 5 years.
Just ask him how he did it. He'll say pull up.
How about 10 years? Let's go up to 10. 10's awesome. Congrats to you if it's been 10 or less. How about 15? 15 years. This is where I'd be walking off the dance floor if I was out there. Less than 15. Many happy years to you. How about 20? Going 20. How about 25 years? Congrats to you for 25 years or less of marriage. All right, we're going to get in some big numbers here. How about 30? 30 years. Keep going, they're saying. Congrats to you guys for 30. How about 35? Still going. Hey, congrats to you guys. How about 40? 40 years. Congrats to you guys. How about 45? 45. Congrats. We got a couple of couples still out there, a couple walking off. Let's step it up here and go 50 years. Right? 50 years. Nobody's moving out there. How about 55? Whoa, 55. How about 57? 57 years. Well, we're down. Congrats to you for 57 years. That's one of our sets of grandparents, I believe, and another one still out there. How about 58 years? Oh, keep going. 58 and a half. All right, 59 years. Wait, I gotta hit the big 6-0. How about 60 years? Well, I might need to get a few more songs lined up. All right, how about 61? Whoa, 62 years. Oh, whoa, 63. Still going. That thumb keeps going. 64 years. 65 years being married. Yes. And I believe that's Frank's grandparents, the Schmitts. Wow, that's amazing. I don't even know if I've gone over that in all the years I've done this, so congrats to you. Let's get a picture together with Frank and Christine to celebrate that awesome moment. And we, of course, wish Frank and Christine 60 plus years as well, right?